Heyo! Welcome to the Team S&G deck profile. Firstly, I'd like to apologize for last week not getting the profile up. The reason behind that was mostly preparing things for Christmas and preparing things for you guys as well. I'm making some plans for some stuff that I want to have up in the new year. Stuff to help new players come back to help new players get into the game, and stuff to help old players maybe come back to the game who've been scared away by how complicated it has gotten. And in fairness, it has gotten very complicated. So, the deck profile we're going to talk about today, I call it Warrior Jank. It's basically a Dark Warrior, Destiny, Hero Advantage type of deck. The goal is to bring out big boss monsters like Crusadia Mech Knight Avermax or Boral Sword to sort of push for game, but it utilizes the Destiny Hero engine to draw cards and sort of get into the deck, deep into the deck, while utilizing things like Isolde and Hero Kid to spam the field and give you resources on board. So, I think it's a good deck, but it is really susceptible to hand traps, and it's very combo heavy, so you sort of need to think about how you want to play things, and certain things need to be played after other things because they'll lock you into things like Destiny Heroes and stuff like that. But we'll get into that as we go through this. Now guys, if you enjoy my deck profiles, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've only had a few comments on previous videos, but I've made sure I've responded to all of them. So, feel free to leave a comment. I'm quite happy to discuss things. If you think maybe I'm playing something wrong, tell me. I'll talk to you about why maybe I didn't play it that way, or why maybe I didn't consider that, or maybe I just didn't know about that card. I'm not perfect. So, like, comment, and subscribe, and to make sure you stick around to the end of the video, because at the end of the video, as always, we will be doing a combo tutorial. So, without further ado, let's begin. As always, we're going to start off with the monsters. The first monster we run is one of our play starters, and that is Neospace Connector. We run 3 copies of him, because obviously, play starter, we want to see him in the opening hand. Basically, when he is normal summoned, we get to special summon a Neospatian or an Elemental Hero Neos from the deck. Now, we don't run Elemental Hero Neos, so we are summoning a Neospatian. This is where you can be susceptible to Ash. If your opponent was to Ash you at this point, though, your combo is going to stall here. You're going to end up with just him on board. So, this is what I mean by the deck can be susceptible to hand traps. So, once you normal summon him, you are going to special summon from the deck Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. And that will give you 2 warriors on board, which means you can start going into things like Isolde. I only run 2 copies of him because I don't really want to see him in my opening hand. I'd rather get him off of Neospace Connector. Another warrior starter that we run is 3 copies of Jank Forward. Now, if you control no monsters, you can special summon him from the hand. Now, we also run some generic warrior starters. The first is Dark Grepher. If he's in your hand, you can send a level 5 or higher dark monster from your hand to the grave, and then you can special summon him. And once per turn, you can discard a dark monster and send a dark monster from the deck to the grave. So this sort of lets you set up your grave with things like Destiny Hero Malicious. We also run 1 Armageddon Knight for the exact same reason. When he's normal summoned, you send from the deck to the grave a dark monster. The final one that we run is Marauding Captain. When Marauding Captain is normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower warrior from the hand. So, he can be really useful, especially when he's paired up with the next card we're going to talk about. We run 3 copies of Hero Kid. Hero Kid is a phenomenal card for this deck. It builds up so much advantage. If Hero Kid is special summoned, you can special summon all the other Hero Kids that are in the deck. Hero Kid's really good for this deck in the sense that it puts advantage on board really quickly. First, we're going to talk about an Elemental Hero, and that is Elemental Hero Solid Soldier. Now, what he does is, when he's normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower hero monster from your hand. Now, again, this can include Hero Kid, because Hero Kid is hero by name. You can also special summon any of the Destiny heroes that we run, which we'll talk about in just a second, that are level 4 or lower. we also run 3 copies of Destiny Hero Malicious. Now, Destiny Hero Malicious is a phenomenal card again. If it's in the grave, you can banish it to special summon one from deck. So, Destiny Hero Malicious is just a typical sort of extender for these types of decks. And so, this is why it's here. So, the next Destiny Hero that we run is Destiny Hero Draw Hand. Now, he's a level 4 Destiny Hero monster that, when he's special summoned, will let you and your opponent draw a card. But he has to be special summoned by a hero effect to get this. The other thing he does is that if he's in the graveyard during your standby phase, you can special summon him from the graveyard. And that will be special summoned by a hero effect, so it'll let you draw a card. But when it leaves the field, it'll be banished. So we have a few cards that we run that we'll talk about when we get to spells and the extra deck that really allow you to utilize him 2 or 3 times before you have to special summon him with his own effect, which means you can sort of draw 2 or 3 cards. The downside is your opponent's also going to get to draw cards. Now, to continue gaining advantage with the Destiny Heroes, we run 1 copy of Disc Commander. If Disc Commander is special summoned from the grave, you get to draw 2 cards. You can only use his effect once per duel. Now, we also run 1 copy of Destiny Hero Drill Dark. Now, this is really useful if you end up with Destiny Hero Malicious in hand, because when you normal summon this, you can special summon a Destiny Hero monster who has less attack than him. Destiny Hero Malicious only has 800 attack, Drill Dark has 1600. So you can special summon your Malicious, and that's sort of a way to get Malicious out of your hand. Now, we also run 2 big boss monsters in the way of Destiny Heroes. The first is Destiny Hero Dogma. What Destiny Hero Dogma does is if he's around during your opponent's next standby phase, he will have your opponent's life points. Now, getting him on field can become at quite a steep cost. You have to tribute 3 monsters, including a Destiny Hero monster. His partner can be a bit more controlling. And that is Destiny Hero Plasma. Destiny Hero Plasma negates the effect of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. He also will let you steal one of your opponent's monsters and equip it to him. He then gains half of their attack points. This can be really useful if you've got problematic monsters you have to worry about getting around. That does it for our monster lineup. So, Warrior deck, Warrior spell. Rhoda. Gotta have it. It'll let you search out any combo piece you need. Often, you won't need many, so it'll let you search out the one you need. You can use it to bait out the Ash, so that your Neospace connector can go off scot-free. It's just a really useful card for you to have. A lot of the time, you actually won't need to search for anything. You should have enough cards to get your combo going without it, but in the odd off chance you don't, Rhoda is just a nice little safety card to have. Now, for the Destiny Hero Advantage side of it, we run 2 copies of Destiny Draw. This lets you fix your hand if you end up with Mally in hand and no way to get it out. You pitch a Destiny Hero and you draw 2 cards. We run enough Destiny Heroes that's fine. We also, a lot of our Destiny Heroes, we don't mind them being engraved. Things like Draw a Hand, who can special summon themselves back. Now, the big spicy power play that we run for this deck is 3 copies of Fusion Destiny. Now, what Fusion Destiny does, it lets you fusion summon a monster from the extra deck by using materials from the main deck or your hand. That monster has to list a Destiny Hero as its material. This card will destroy the fusion summon monster at the end of the next turn. So, what we typically like to do is use this card to fusion summon Destiny Hero Dominance. That lets us send 3 Destiny Heroes from the deck to the grave. Finally, because we run Isolde, we run quite a few equip spells. I'm currently running 5. I think it's plenty, seeing as what we typically want to summon off of Isolde is only a level 2 monster, so we only ever need to send 2. The equip spells I run are all generically useful cards, in the sense that they each do something for the deck, but at the same time, none of them are make or break. So the first one we run is 1 copy of Bigbang Shot. This gives your card 400 attack and piercing. The one downside to this is if this card is destroyed, that monster's destroyed. So maybe United We Stand is a better option. United We Stand gives the monster it's equipped to 800 attack for every monster you control. And so you can end up with a big beat stick that gets even bigger. We also run Power of the Guardians. This is a really useful card because every time a battle involves the monster it's equipped to, a spell counter is put on this card, and that monster gains 500 attack for every spell counter on this card. If the monster would be destroyed by battle, then you can remove a spell counter from this card instead. We also run Living Fossil. This lets us special summon back materials from the grave. That's basically the only reason we run it. And for his old tribute fodder. And finally, we run Cursed Armaments. Now, this is my spicy little equip card that I like running. The monster equipped with it loses 600 attack for every monster that you control. So in this deck, where you've got the ability to spam out 4 or 5 monsters using a single monster in hand, that can be really valuable because you can end up lowering something really big on your opponent's side of the field to nothing. And if this card leaves the field, you can just equip it to another card on your opponent's side of the field. And so that's a really useful thing too, because it means that you could just continue to drop your opponent's attack power and just attack over their monsters. So that does it for the equip spells. It also does it for the spell lineup. Now for the trap lineup. And as per usual, it's small. We run 3 copies of Super Team Buddy Force Unite. Target a card on the field. Special summon a card of the same type. Everything's warrior. Kind of makes a lot of sense. Also, it can set itself from the deck if it's destroyed on your side of the field. Finally, we also run 1 copy of Quaking Mirror Force. And that does it for the main deck. So now the main focus of this deck in reality. The extra deck. First card we run. 2 copies of Isolde, the 2 Tales of the Noble Knights. This is such a great card. It only takes 2 warriors, and it lets you search out a warrior. What I typically like to do is search out Neospace Connector so I have it for next turn so I can continue comboing off next turn. And it also lets you special summon a warrior by sending equipped spells from the deck equal to that warrior's level. And that can be really good for building up this big push for game type board. Another card we run is Extra Hero Cross Crusader. Now, I don't typically use his effects in this deck because what I tend to do is go into him, and then I use him and Isolde to go straight into Avermax, which we'll get to when we get to him. The reason I don't like using his effect is he locks you into dark hero monsters. Now, I run a small nightmare package, as in an entire nightmare package. I run 2 copies of Nightmare Phoenix, 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, and 1 copy of Nightmare Cerberus. These are just generic removal. They're quite useful that way. They're generic, so it's not really a surprise I run them. They're also really useful in the sense that they can build a nice little lock between themselves. We run 1 copy of Topologic Trispania. That's just for the matchups with the back row heavy decks. That's the only reason I run this, really. And now for the big boss monsters that we run. The first one we run is Saryuja. Saryuja is really easy to bring out with using 4 materials in this deck. One of those options is probably my favorite card, Midnight Crusadia Avermax. Self-honesting, untargetable, only thing your opponent can attack. Pretty good defensive kind of card to have on the board. But if you've gone second, and you want to OTK, then go with Borrelsword. Borrelsword is really easy to bring out in this deck. He doesn't require cards with different names, he doesn't require cards from the extra deck, he just requires 3 effect monsters. If you're pushing for game, can't go any better than him. So that does it for the links. It also does it for our big boss monsters. We're now going to talk about our Destiny Heroes. I run 1 Destiny Hero here, literally pretty much just to help with time. You use Destiny Hero Dystopia's effect to send a level 4 monster from the deck to the grave, and burn your opponent for that monster's attack. I don't typically go into this. We also run Destiny End Dragoon. Destiny End Dragoon's, again, one of those niche cards that I don't go into very often. His whole shtick is that he can target a card once per turn and destroy that card. If that card was a face-up attack monster, then your opponent takes damage equal to that monster's attack. Also, if you fusion summoned him, and he gets sent to the grave, then you can banish a Destiny hero from the grave to special summon him back. So he's got a lot of recursion. He's not that difficult to play around, so frankly, I don't go into him that often. And the final card I run, and probably the most important of the Destiny Hero extra deck monsters I run, is 2 copies of Destiny Hero Dominance. What this card does is, during your main phase, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, or your opponent's deck, and you can put them back in any order. That's really useful, because that lets you choose what you're going to draw. And when you consider that he requires 3 monsters, if you send this commander and draw a hand, when he's destroyed by card effect or battle, he special summons back 3 Destiny heroes. That means you can special summon back Destiny hero, disc commander, Destiny hero, draw a hand. So that can be really useful. You've gotten +3 off of this card's destruction, and that's why this card can be really busted in this deck, because it just lets you build up so much advantage so quickly. That does it for our extra deck. Now we're going to talk about some combos. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the combos. There's several different combos, there's several different ways to go with this deck, so it's totally up to you. These are combos I like to use. These are typical sort of 1 card, 2 card plays that will accelerate the deck. And as always, this is going to act as our field center. So the first combo we're going to talk about is the typical combo using Neospace Connector. If you have this 1 card in hand, you can basically kind of go full combo, so long as you don't get interrupted. So what you're typically going to do is you're going to normal summon your Neospace Connector. Effect of your Neospace Connector will special summon your Neospace and Aqua Dolphin. You're then going to link both your Connector and your Aqua Dolphin off. Special your Isolde, 2 Tails of the Noble Knights. You're going to activate 2 Tails of the Noble Knights. You're going to send any 2 of your equip spells. It doesn't really matter what. It's totally up to you. What I tend to send is Bigbang Shot first, because it makes you susceptible. It really doesn't matter. So we'll say Living Fossil. So you send 2 of them. In this case, you didn't draw any. So you special summon 1, 2, 3 hero kids from the deck. Now you're in a really good spot, because you can just continue to combo off from here. One play that you can do is you can link off 2 hero kids into your Cross Crusader, and then you can link Cross Crusader and Isolde off into Avermax. So this is what I typically like to do if I'm going first, because Avermax can be a problem card that a lot of decks have difficulty dealing with. The other option is, to go back to Isolde with 3 hero kids, is you can link off Isolde and 2 hero kids for Borrelsword. Now, this is great if you're going second. Typically what you're going to want to do then, though, is you're going to want to special summon one of the hero kids in attack, so that Borrelsword's attack goes off, and then Borrelsword's effect targets the hero kid, switches it to defense, and then can attack again. So that's another option. So this typically wants to be the board that you end on, and as I say, there are several ways of going about it. The first way, you've already seen, using Neospace Connector. Let's talk about the second way. All you need is Junk Forward and any other warrior card in the deck. So, we'll say, Destiny Hero Drill Dart. Not exactly the biggest combo piece in the deck, so we'll use that to show that you don't need the best warrior to make this work. What you do is you special summon your Junk Forward, he's a warrior. You normal summon your Drill Dark, you link your Drill Dark and your Junk Forward off, special summon your Isolde, activate your Isolde, send your 2 equips, special summon, special summon, special summon. Boom. That is another way of going about this. Third option of how you can go about this. This option will actually allow you to have drawn a hero kit even. And this can be a completely different combo because of this as well. This option involves Marauding Captain. If you have Marauding Captain and any other warrior monster in your hand, this will work. What you'll do is you'll normal summon your Marauding Captain, and you'll special summon any other warrior from your hand that is level 4 or below. Again, link off, into your Isolde, Hero Kid, Hero Kid, Hero Kid. Another method? Why not? Normal summon, Elemental Hero, Solid Soldier. Special summon, Destiny Hero Drill Dark. Link 2 off, Isolde, Hero Kid, Hero Kid, Hero Kid. So that's basically how it works. It works with the whole Isolde Turbo type of thing. So now we're going to talk about something a bit different. If I have Fusion Destiny in hand. Fusion Destiny in hand can be so valuable, but you have to wait until the end of the turn to use it. So, we'll say we have Neospace Connector and Fusion Destiny in hand. Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax. Then, you activate your Fusion Destiny. You can send 3 Destiny Heroes from the deck to the grave. Typically, you're going to want to send Destiny Hero Disc Commander, Destiny Hero Draw Hand, Destiny Hero Malicious. Send all 3 of them from the deck to the grave, allowing you to special summon Destiny Hero Dominance. Destiny Hero Dominance will then let you sort the top 5 cards of your deck, and if he destroys something by battle, then you draw a card. And at the end of the next turn, or if your opponent finds a way of getting rid of him, he'll get popped, and you will special summon back from the grave Destiny Hero Malicious, Destiny Hero Draw Hand, Destiny Hero Disc Commander. And off of that, +3, because you've gone +2 here, +1 here, and you've got Malicious on board. So, my final thoughts on this deck is it can be a really fast deck, very fast paced, putting out a lot of materials very quickly, gaining a lot of advantage, what with the draw power of the Destiny Hero engine. But it's so susceptible to hand traps that it's never going to be uber competitive. Will it steal a win here and there? Of course. Is it consistent? So long as it's not hand trapped, definitely. Is it fun? Oh yeah. Being able to go from 1 card all the way to a Boral Sword Dragon, unhindered, going second, is incredible. Being able to go from 2 cards, to a Boral Sword Dragon, unhindered, and a Destiny Hero Dominance is incredible. And putting your opponent in a situation where they've watched you do all of this, with nothing that they can do to stop you, can be quite a phenomenal experience. So, at the end of the day, the deck can be really fun, but it will never win anything big. It's too susceptible to common hand traps like Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler. I thoroughly enjoy the deck though. I think that the deck definitely steals some wins at the local level. A lot of the times it will outpace most decks that your opponents are going to play, and they won't quite know where to stop you. They may sort of decide to let you have a search, and often that will be the killer. Don't forget, this is the best card in the game for baiting out that Ash Blossom. So, as always, take this deck with you, enjoy yourselves, let me know how it goes, and don't forget, leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the next profile.